So, for about the next 20 minutes of our conference, we'll be switching to English because we've got some very exciting international speakers lined up for you. We've only been together for about an hour, but throughout the last discussion, it's become inherently clear that Germany still has a long way to go in strengthening digital skills, securing skilled IT workers, and lifelong education. To help us succeed in that journey, it's always useful to take a look around and gain some inspiration from other European countries facing similar challenges. To that end, I am extremely humbled to introduce our next keynote speaker, Mr. Dan Koivulaakso, State Secretary to the Finnish Minister of Education. Unfortunately, he could not be here in person today, but he has sent us a very insightful video message, which we will now watch together.
Sehr geehrte Gäste und Delegierte, meine Damen und Herren, dear experts and policymakers, educators and colleagues, I am honored to speak to you today about education and the huge importance of knowledge and technological developments for the world of work over the coming years and decades. Evolving technologies have already transformed our societies profoundly, and the rapid changes are creating a significant pressure also for education systems everywhere to get with the times. It is not just technology and ICT skills that will need to be considered and addressed, but the much wider social impact and ramifications of this digital revolution. First, I would like to take a brief look at the effects of the pandemic on education and at the role of digital education. Secondly, I will say a few words about the reforms and the digitalization efforts in Finnish vocational education. Lastly, I will devote some time to the importance of digital skills and to information industries more broadly. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic certainly managed to underline how crucial it is to ensure that our education systems are resilient, well-resourced and well-prepared. If 3 years ago, some still harbored the belief that education technologies, digital platforms and internet connectivity were merely an extra add-on in schools, something that we didn't really need to be invest too much in, as it would distract students from so-called proper education, I suspect they've changed their minds since. We already know that in a larger picture, despite our difficulties, Europe generally managed the pandemic quite well. In many parts of the world, for example on the African continent and in many Southeast Asian countries, schools faced much greater challenges. As teaching had to go either virtual or pause altogether, the resulting exclusion from education was often downright overwhelming. Without reliable internet connection and devices, huge numbers of people lost access to formal education. In the Philippines, schools remained closed for over 2 years and were open only last autumn. Think of all the learning that was missed out on by millions of children around the globe. So we must acknowledge that there is a clear and two-directional link between a nation's prosperity on one hand and the ability of its education system to adapt to change on the other hand. Even under difficult circumstances, the education system has to be up to the task of equipping all citizens with the necessary skills and competencies they will need later in life, with the skills that are needed for employment, innovation and general well-being. Increasingly, these necessary competencies revolve around versatile digital skills. Advances in digitalization offer great possibilities for the world of education, work, business and the economy. They have significant potential for creating new kinds of economic and civic activities, services, skills and jobs. Along with the possibilities, however, come challenges. Making sure that education policy can keep up with rapid technological and social change is one of our most pressing concerns. In Finland, the focus has been and remains on raising the national education and competence level of the entire population. Dear audience, we have recently reformed vocational education and training here in Finland, and the most important change has taken place in the way of thinking. It has shifted from a system-centered approach to a competence-based one. We now focus on flexible and personal study paths, broad competencies, close cooperation with working life, and lifelong learning. The emphasis is on what a student learns and is able to do with their knowledge and skills. For this, we offer each student a possibility to tailor their individual path to qualification. We have also fully digitalized the infrastructure that supports and powers our vocational education system. The new database Koski is a platform for sharing student data, and it centralizes the collection of various types of information, such as student attendance, progress, grades, digital diplomas, study records, etc. Statistical data is collected and displayed on the government's public dashboard of educational statistics and is readily available for download or consultation to any interested party. Good data portability allows other governmental institutions to access and use the data for things like trend analysis and the anticipation of future needs. And with the user's consent, some personal information may be transferred to private services as well, so that students can, for instance, benefit from a student discount when they purchase public transport tickets electronically. In other words, instead of simply teaching digital skills to students, it is important that the vocational education system itself fully embraces and utilizes all the potential, all the advantages of new digital technologies as well. The Finnish government's focus in general is on setting up policies that connect all the different solutions of the digital ecosystem and that support their use by a digitally skilled population. Put simply, if we want our education systems to serve all learners, they need to become more open, accessible, and flexible. To improve access to education globally, it is crucial that high-quality teaching and learning resources are readily available. To build societies that are resilient and ready to respond to increasingly complex global challenges, we need innovative and new resources for learning. Speaking of new resources, one good example of an open large-scale learning opportunity in Finland is a massive open online course on elements of AI, which became an instant success in May 2018, with more than 20,000 requests to join it within a day of its launch. By the end of 2020, it had enrolled over 500,000 students from more than 110 countries, and it is available in all EU countries, also in Germany. New technologies can benefit learning and education in many ways, but in order to do so, they need to be used in a pedagogically meaningful way. To give students the tools to act as active citizens in our increasingly digital societies of tomorrow, we need research-based pedagogical knowledge as well as teachers with strong digital skills. It is crucial that the teachers themselves are competent in the use of new technologies so that they can pass that knowledge on to their student and use them for the benefit of teaching and learning. In Finland, we have found that various models for teachers' competence developed based on peer support, such as tutoring, are very effective. We have also established a national library of open educational resources where teachers and learners can share and access a wide variety of content. Dear friends of education, as you all well know, our world is changing at a dizzying speed. Due to technological advancements, some jobs will vanish and new ones will emerge. Accurately predicting the details of this change is extremely difficult, but we do know that the transformation of work and the digital shift will have the biggest impact on jobs with low educational requirements. There is going to be a great need for reskilling, upskilling, and continuous learning, and our education systems must be ready and able to meet those needs. For that end, it is essential that education and training policies are rethought to ensure that our citizens' skills can continue to develop continuously throughout their lives. We need to find new ways to support and promote continuous learning so that people are able to combine work and study no matter what their circumstances are. In Finland, we are currently planning a digital service ecosystem of continuous learning to support the development of more personalized learning paths by bringing together services for competence mapping and assessment, career planning and guidance, and competence development. Our objective is to make it easier for people to survey their own situations and needs and to more easily obtain information on training and work opportunities. In Finnish higher education, the new DigiVision 2030 for research universities and universities of applied sciences will also bring greater opportunities for all learners to learn flexibly. It will include shared data and procedures for all higher education institutions, a shared digital service platform, as well as further development of digital pedagogy and individual guidance. Both degree students and lifelong learners will be able to select courses from all Finnish higher education institutions, irrespective of organizational boundaries or geographical location. The goal is to bring higher education closer to every citizen and strengthen cooperation between universities. Of course, we also want to promote links with our European and global partners and to encourage the admission of more international students to Finland. Digital skills are vital to our increasingly digital economies and societies, yet there is a major shortage of ICT professionals all around Europe. The Commission has set a target to reach 20 million ICT specialists in EU by 2030, but much work will be required to reach that goal. Worryingly, the digital economy and the society index shows that today 4 out of 10 adults who work in Europe lack basic digital skills. A large number of occupations, ranging from construction and healthcare to engineering and information technology, suffer from shortages. And the variations in skilling and reskilling uptake across Europe risks leading to skills gaps and skills mismatches, which in turn weakens European cohesion. This can also accelerate brain drain away from less performing labour markets, leaving several regions in a continuously weakening position. Vicious cycles are easily created but much more difficult to undo. Clearly, securing enough skilled IT workers is a challenge for all of us. Finland too is lacking skilled workforce in many sectors and regions, and this talent shortage, if left unaddressed, can become a real obstacle for our economic growth. In higher education, Finland's goal for 2030 is to triple the amount of new international degree students to 15,000 annually from the current 7,000. Already in 2021, in Finnish higher education institutions, a quarter of ICT field students were international. Europe will need people from other parts of the world, and we'll want to make sure that their lives here will turn out successful and as happy as possible. Dear friends, lastly, I want to emphasize the importance of collaboration in transforming societies. Finland relies on continuous foresight of education trends, development-oriented evaluation and research, on openness to new ideas, and on cooperative formulation of reforms together with various stakeholders. For example, our recently launched revised national strategy on teacher education was prepared in a broad collaboration with universities, teachers, trade unions, and other stakeholders. Change requires trust as well as a strong leadership and a great deal of shared thinking. Dear friends, the digital sector as a whole has a significant potential to create new kinds of economic and civic activity, new services and jobs. It will be the backbone of our economies in the future. But while technology supports innovation, competitiveness and well-being, it is education, training and research that generates the expertise needed in society. That is why ensuring that we have the human capital, people with the right skill sets and digital competences required to succeed in a new world is of utmost importance. Our education systems will have to work hard to meet this challenge. We will have to take the upskilling needs of the workforce very seriously. To reach our visions of future success, the number of people with good digital skills and the share of proficient users of advanced digital technologies needs to increase substantially across the society. Schools will need to reinvent themselves so that they are able to not only equip young students with all the necessary skills and knowledge for the future, but also support the continuous updating of skills for all citizens all throughout their lives. All of us will need to learn this new mindset as we adapt to a rapidly changing world. But it can be done, and I have no doubt that we will once again rise up to this challenge together. With these words, I would like to thank you all for your attention. Vielen Dank.